Welcome to the first video in this free 3-part series that will teach you how to win points and matches at the net. Now, in my opinion, winning points at the net is one of the best feelings on the tennis court, and fortunately it is also extremely effective at the recreational level. Now, the good news for you is that mastering volley technique is actually a lot easier than mastering technique on your ground strokes or your serve, for example. So with this video series, you will learn how to hit cleaner and firmer volleys by improving your volley technique. You will also learn how to dominate at the net with great court positioning. And last but not least, I will teach you how to approach the net effectively so that your opponents are forced to hit weaker passing shots. Now, when we did our survey on what you struggle with the most at the net, the answer that kept coming up was, I just can't seem to hit a clean volley. I keep framing my volleys over and over. So in today's video, I want to show you two important technical concepts that will help you hit clean volleys. The first thing I want you to pay attention to is you want your racket face to be pointing at the target directly where you want to hit on the other side of the net before contact, at contact, and just after contact. So the racket face remains stable and points at the target throughout this contact phase. Now, in order to achieve that, you need to make sure that you have a stable wrist position. As you can see right here, my wrist is laid back and I keep that stable wrist position as I swing forward. Now, basically we have a minimal arm movement here with a stable wrist position, and I move the entire hitting arm structure forward just like this as I step. So it's step and hit at the same time with a stable hitting arm structure, just like this. Let's take a look at that in super slow motion.
Okay, so first I want you to take a look at how the racket face is pointing at the target before contact, at contact, and just after contact. This is possible because of the stable wrist position. The strings are pointing towards where I want to hit the ball, and this minimizes the chance of framing shots. Even here after contact, the racket face is still pointing in the same direction. Now let's take a look at the minimal arm movement and the step and hit concept. There's a minimal backswing, and the arm does very little on the forward swing. Instead, I step forward and move the entire hitting arm structure forward with that step and from the shoulder. Let's take a look at that one more time.
Okay, so how can you practice this? The first thing to focus on is to minimize your backswing. So from the ready position, you just turn the upper body, and as you can see, my racket is approximately in line with my right shoulder. You don't want to do this. And from here, the strings of the racket are pointing at the target on the other side of the net. Very important. And then from this position, you simply step and hit and keep that wrist stable so that the strings continue to point at the target on the other side of the net. So once again, turn, minimize the backswing, step and hit, and keep that wrist stable. One more time, just like that. And you practice that over and over with shadow swings until you feel like you're getting it right. And now in the next step, I'm going to hit some very easy volleys. You can have a practice partner or a coach feed you some easy volleys and just focus on the fundamentals. Don't worry too much about where your ball goes. Let's go ahead. And again. Now let me show you the same thing for the backhand volley. The concept is exactly the same. You turn, minimize the backswing. The strings of the racket are pointing at the target. The wrist is laid back. And now I step and hit just like this with a very short, compact swing. And you practice that with your shadow swings over and over. And now let me demonstrate the same thing with the ball. Now, the second concept that will help you to hit cleaner volleys is to keep your eyes at the hit. Most players have the tendency, especially at the net, to look where they want to hit even before they make contact with the ball, and that almost always results in a framed shot. So what you want to do instead is you want to keep your eyes at the contact point even after contact, just for a split second, okay? That will assure that you hit the ball clean, that will assure that your body stays in the position that it should be in, and I usually see excellent results when I work on this with students. So the way to practice this, once again, you start with shadow swings, okay? You shadow swing, and after the shot, my eyes are still pointing at where I made contact with the ball, and I practice that over and over. It's a good sign when you start hitting balls that you don't even see where your ball lands, then you're exaggerating what we're trying to work on here. Let me demonstrate with the ball.
Now let's take a look at this in super slow motion. Right here at contact, my eyes are pointing in the direction of the contact point, and I keep my head still like that until after contact. As you can see, my vision is still in the same direction and the head remains still, which is very important.
All right, so much on hitting clean volleys with better technique. Now, when you improve your volley technique, everything at the net gets easier. It's going to result in weaker passing shots from your opponents, and you're also going to be able to be more aggressive with your footwork and closing in order to have easy volleys up at the net. Now let me quickly recap what we talked about in today's video. The important thing to focus on is to have your racket face pointing at the target before contact, at contact, and after contact. Now, in order to get that done, you need to make sure that you have a stable, laid-back wrist position and you move the entire hitting arm structure forward as a unit, just like this, as you step and hit at the same time. Also, you can see that we have a minimal backswing and that also the forward swing is relatively short. So in general, we have a short, compact motion here on the volleys. The second important thing to focus on in order to hit clean volleys is to keep your eyes at the hit. So when you're volleying, you want to have your eyes in the direction of the contact point and you want to keep your head still and the eyes at the hit just like this. So even after contact, my head is in the same position, and this is usually extremely effective in order to hit cleaner volleys. Now, in the next couple of days, you will receive another email with a video link to the second video in this free series. And in that video, I'll teach you how to dominate at the net with great court positioning. For now, it's time to go out in the court and start practicing your volley technique, and feel free to ask me any questions underneath this video.